Hey, coaches. This is part three of the Four Verts series. Stan gets into the Pro Cutups today, and really he's a high level, smart coach, and I hope you've been enjoying the series. He took us from the playbook to the college cuts, and now to the pro cuts. And I hope it's helped you. I know it's helped me a bunch. He does a great job of teaching it and does a great job of sharing it with us. So hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, share all that YouTube stuff. It helps us somehow on YouTube. And I hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you, coaches.
So we only got 15 cut-ups here. We'll just go through these cut-ups as in the order that they're in. Try to be too fancy with them, but yeah, a little bit different. One thing that took some getting adjusting to from being, coaching primarily always college ball, or in Europe, we would also use college hashes, is, I've had several people write me and ask about, say, maize. Do you want the shake route to the field or to the boundary? Or talking about the outlaw play, what do you do if you're on the left hash? Do you still have, do you bring guys in? Do you, what are you doing with them if the quarterback doesn't have that strong of an arm? And some of that, you got to adjust it because, as you can see, with the pro hashes, we never really would treat it like, okay, this is a field play, this is a boundary play, because we always felt like we had enough space to run whatever we wanted from any hash without changing, the strength of the formation. So here's a star 6. We just do a swap here because we wanted to get our faster guys. So swap just meant that the Y is going to be number 2 and our F would be number 3. And in this instance, we put a receiver in at the F position. This is Isaac Zico, who he had just gotten cut from I believe Zico had just been cut from the Cardinals when we brought him in. But he's ended up leading the spring league, missed the first 2 games, and still led the spring league in touchdown receptions. Really, really talented player. Makes a great catch here because it's pretty tight throw, and there's definitely some boom whenever he catches the ball. You see down working from the bottom. X working to get outside. H is working outside. Because the safety is working over the H, you can see the H starting to settle it down, which is going to give that Y some space. But honestly, the reason this is probably not a touchdown is right here. We want to teach should be an outside release. If he fights for that outside release, which might take longer and might push him out farther, that's going to put this cat in a predicament where he's got 2 guys to work with and should give us the space we need to get down the middle here. Because we take the easy release inside, now we're side by side. He doesn't have near as much grass to defend, and he can kind of play both men at once. And because of that, he's got more space, or, he's tighter, and he comes down and makes the play. But, great catch by Zico to hang on to it. Great throw by Ryan to fit it in there. So I don't know if we stay on the line or if it widens out any. Might be able to see it a bit here. Too tight a film on that. The next one we got open flip, 6X comeback. So as we like to read this from the single receiver across. So we talk, if it's a balanced formation or if it's empty, we're usually going to read it left to right. But when we get a single receiver, we go in any trip set, open flip in this example, we want to read it the single receiver because it becomes natural for that second read to be the guy crossing face. I'd never want to read here, read 2, and then my third read be a guy that's coming across the field. That's a pretty tough one. That's a tough throw for the quarterback, and you're kind of telegraphing yourself throwing into a safety. This way, our thought process is we want to win one-on-one. If the safety works over to take that away, now we should be putting a lot of pressure on this safety to either get this covered or leaving the scene, as long as everyone's doing their proper releases. But again, because it's 1, 2, 3, and the X is 4, that becomes a really long throw. And especially if you're getting soft coverage, you just say, okay, let's comeback him. Typically, high school, college, we would do comebacks maybe 13 to 10. The spring league, we were doing them at 18 yards back to 15. If I would have been in there, I probably would have preferred 13 to 10 because I don't have the arm that this cat does. But here we're just going 6. And we got the X running a comeback. So you can kind of see there, he's making an X with his hands and giving him a comeback signal. The catch here, we're working across. Our Z inside releases, which usually we're just going to stop, unless that's something we've talked about on the sideline. We tell them, if you inside release, we're just not going to look at you. So we get off of that pretty quick. And it just times up really well as you work through your progressions to get back to that comeback. This is Michael Mookie Darius here. He had been with the Ravens before he came to us. He led the spring league in receiving yards. So one guy leading touchdowns, one guy leading yards, and another leading receptions. So Ryan gets very quick off of the Z, works through his progression. Does a good job of finding our X. Now here, this is probably the game of the year in the spring league. We're going against Glenville and the Conquerors, and Glenville's no slouch on defense. He's pretty dang good. We're in the second half, or in the fourth quarter actually here, and we're down by 2 scores. And Michael Darius had said, well, we just can't get outside against these guys. We can't win when we go outside. And he's like, if I could run a post, I know I'm going to beat him. So then it becomes, okay, well, what are we going to do here? Naturally, okay, we want to get him up. We want to sit him. And that's going to give us space to throw the post. So, Mookie came up with that idea on the sideline. We said, all right, we'll sit it. And this is, that next drive here is we're down by 2 scores. H does a great job. You can see him sitting. Pulls the safety's eyes right here. Safety's eyes are down on the sit. He works down. That leaves us a space, and Ryan just throws a phenomenal ball. Great catch, great concentration. It's a 1-play drive for a touchdown to get us back within a score. Should get a good look of it here. H settles up, pulls the safety down, gives us the throw we need. Now they went back and scored right away on us. So we found ourselves down by 2 scores again. So here it's 33-24. And the first play of the drive, we ran inside zone. And the next play, we ran 6 and we did Y sit, Z post. So we just flip the plays over. Now you see the Y running up to the safety, sits down. Now the opposite safety from the last time jumps down on the Y. That opens up your space for the post. And that's just, phenomenal catch. Great body control. And that's just a testament to Pat and Go every day, throwing balls, catching them over the outside shoulder. There's Isaac Zico. That's, I think, the first or second of his leading touchdowns. Get a good look at this. Now, in this instance, because the safety is shooting over to the middle, we're giving these guys that freedom, because obviously we're not sitting to hold a backer. We're sitting to hold a safety. So their job is to just get that safety's attention any way they can. Reese Horn here. Reese is phenomenal receiver. He's probably the leader of our receiving group, veteran guy, been on a few NFL teams, actually from Indianapolis, played at University of Indianapolis. And great player, great guy. Settles it down there. Ryan gets the throw over top and just amazing catch. And then we end up taking the game into overtime. And in overtime, we said, well, what's another way we can get this post and get their attention? And in overtime, we ran Y shallow, and we had the X post over top of the dig, and we hit that for about 60 yards, and that set up the game-winning touchdown. So, this little sideline adjustment, the idea from our receiver is literally what probably kept us from losing the game by 2 touchdowns. Here's the last drive. We were down 39-31 in this game. We're driving down to tie it up. And, they don't want to get beat deep. So we're just working the comebacks. I think we hit 3 comebacks for first downs on this drive. It's one of them. This one here, you want to try to get, if you get an outside release, we might be looking at the Y here at the bottom of the screen, but because he goes inside, we carry across. Ryan's patient. It's a good throw, gets the comeback. And then this was probably the play of the day outside of all those huge plays, because this is 4th down and 10. We got 4th down and 10, a minute and a half to go, down by 8 points. We called 6 over there. Ryan lines up and he calls the comeback to the X. It's just a perfectly thrown ball, phenomenal catch with the defender all over him, and just stretches it out. Get a view here just because it's such a nice throw and catch. This one, we're not really going impressions. Ryan knows what he's doing. And he has to get it off quick, too. We struggle here on the edge. This 91 was a phenomenal player for the Conquerors. One thing they didn't do in the spring league, I mean, I don't know what you think about this, but they didn't really call roughing the passer. Would you call this?
Yeah, I was looking at the same thing. I would.
That was the norm, and
yeah,
they just don't really. They didn't really care about that.
It's funny. I've got several of these games. I guess it was going down the stretch. I've got them DVR'd. And I stopped watching them because you guys were getting murdered, and came back and won all of them. So I still got them on my DVR. I gotta watch them.
Come on, Coach, you're an area guy. You're never out whenever you do this stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, one of them, it was late. It was late in the game, and you guys really hadn't cranked up anything, and then came back and won. I think you did that 3 times in a row, didn't you?
We 4 times. Our last 4 games of the last 3 regular season in the championship game, we were down by 2 scores in the 4th quarter.
Well, I wanted you guys to win the championship so bad, and I was watching. It's like, dang, there's nothing going on, and you were way behind. I was like, dang, I don't know if they can do it, and I just didn't want to torture myself watching it. But I still got it on DVR, so I'm gonna watch it.
We just like to make it interesting, man. And I tell you, like, Ryan Willis has, ice in his veins. That guy does not get shook. He's the guy you want there. And I mean, I'm waiting after this, after the break here, July 4th, for somebody to pick him up. He deserves a shot in the league. He's incredible. So here you can see him signaling. He's just signaling a hitch down here at the bottom to the Y, the single receiver. And this is another good look of when we talk about the noose drill, a practice and throwing to the shoulder away from the defender here. Interesting story is this cat right here and this cat right here. I coached both of them in junior college in 2014. Recruited this guy, Joseph Putu. He was a receiver out of Rhode Island. Recruited him after 2 games, talked him into moving him to I talked to a defensive coordinator into taking him at safety or DB in general, because I didn't think he was going to play much for us. He didn't like me very much. We moved him to DB, ended up being an All-American the next year and going to Florida, and has been in NFL camps and things like that. So worked out pretty well for him. Whenever I saw him there, he was happy to see me. But Yeah, good guy there. And, when they're off, we always feel like if he's off, he's going to have a hard time making this play. This is a cat we worry about. If he's out farther, he probably gives him the outlook, gives him the outlaw call. But because he's there, I mean, he just flies out. The Aviators went 0-6 on the season, but we thought they had the best defense in the league. They gave us fits every time we played them. But here's just a great, if Ryan throws that inside shoulder, that's a pick six. But he just throws it outside, just out of his reach. And that's not a, missed throw from where he's throwing. That's very intentional where that ball is going. And then Reese does a great job there of, breaking a tackle and getting a pretty good gain and doing a good job, as we talk about, of just knowing when to get down, avoiding that hit. And we're actually running the F angle here. I guess we'll see through this view. So this is when we had started tagging these angle routes. So I guess we don't get back to it in time. Here's a look at the F shoot. And this is the fourth quarter drive when we went down. We hit a game-winning field goal against these guys. 6 seconds left to win it. We've been trailing. We had 2 or 3 games that we never led until the final minute of the game. This Trey Mentor, running back out of South Alabama, phenomenal player. Both of our running backs, him and DJ Davis, were really the catalysts that made the offense work. Not very big guys, but they could both run, they could both block, they catch well. They did a lot of good things. Trey led the spring league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. And that's not what you would expect from a Hal Mumme team. So here's open flip 6. So we got the vertical. He's coming across, and for this week, we were doing the F angle with the back to the trips. We kind of toy with that. So it's kind of like, okay, if he takes off running with the cross, then the back is going to come right behind him and kind of give us a second read. This is first drive of this game. This is a game we needed to win to go to the final. This is basically our division championship. They're off here, but Ryan's thinking he's probably going to be working that, H on the cross to the F on the angle. But as he gets back here, he likes the look here. He likes his matchup. Ezekiel's a good player, puts it up, and just a, great throw over the outside shoulder that we practice on pat and go every day, and great catch. So, we always tell our guys when we tag something, that doesn't mean throw the tag. A lot of young quarterbacks will think that. It just means that, hey, that's now part of the progression. You still read it the exact same way. Great throw, great catch. Couldn't have been better. Next drive, we had 2 on the opposite side just like it, and we dropped 2 in a row. Didn't want to put that on here. All right, here we're going H Friday. So we got the fade. H is running the Friday, or, the 5-yard out. And we got the Y doing a sleeper. So you'll see the Y kind of set in and delay. We end up hitting the Friday here. This is right before half. We're just trying to move the chains and get in field goal range. Great job by Ryan of, with pressure coming, getting the ball off. And good job by Ben Putman there. Slot receiver. He played for Coach Mumme's son, Matt Mumme, at Nevada. And he ended up leading the spring league in receptions. But another really talented player. I mean, I think all of these receivers have a shot to play somewhere if they get a look. Here's open 6. I think on this one, we just check down to the running back, and they cover it pretty well. Ryan does a good job. You can see him. We'll look at it from here. You'll see him go left to right going through his progression. And something we always teach these guys is learn the progression, stick to the progression, never pass up the open receiver, never throw to a covered receiver. Just keep working through. O-line picks up the blitz well. This isn't the same play, is it? Okay, we'll have to watch it from here. I guess the cuts are a bit off. But you can see him looking left, H, works over to the right, checks down to his back. Gets us a much needed first down there, because this, like all the other games, is a game we're having to make a comeback in. Another look at a Friday here. And this would just be, you know, we call open flip 6. You know, see, Ryan's just talking here. So we give signals. We'd also yell the plays a lot. I heard people saying, watching the TV broadcast, they're yelling the play every time. And Coach Mumme's like, I don't care. They still have to stop it. Friday, just getting the flat route there. Just finding the leverage. Ryan was phenomenal at that. Here's in the Mega Bowl, the championship game. We got open flip 6. Got the leverage outside, but because we're on the hash, there could be worry that he could get over and make a play. So Ryan gives a Friday call here to the Y. You're just working that speed cut out. Reese just a really hard runner, man. He's pretty talented guy. That's it for the 6 cut.